Thank you. I'd like to welcome everyone tonight again. Thank you. I think between Election Day and the recent happenings at this bank, that we'll have enough buzz this evening to keep us going for quite a while. But I'd like to thank everyone here at the bank for hosting this evening, and in particular Cynthia. Where are you? Right there. And all our helpers for the wonderful and delicious refreshments this evening. So at that, I would like to introduce Gary Shook, who will give us more details on the bank's recent merger. Pay attention.
Thank you all. I guess, and thank you all for coming, and we are glad to be doing this, something we will be doing in the future. Rather than get into a whole lot of detail of the merger, at the end of my comments, I'd be more than happy to answer questions that you may have. But I'll give you the high level of really what brought this about and what got us thinking beyond the borders of Middleburg. If perish the thought, that is something people look at. But we had been looking for some period of time, when I say we, the board and executive management, on how to continue to grow. The regulatory environment out of Washington, D.C. is just continues to make it very difficult for banks to be able to exist, especially smaller banks, not bigger banks. And it directly relates to the expenses of the bottom line of being able to provide the compliance that's necessary. All the new rules and things that came out of the recession of 2007 have really had an impact on all banks. I should point out Middleburg is having a record earnings year this year, and when you're having a record earnings year, it provides you the environment to take a look at your whole big picture, your strategy, and the where to from here. And we really came down to 3 different strategies that we reviewed, 2 of which we had interest in, the 3rd of which we didn't. One was continue along as an independent bank at $1.3 billion. That puts us about the 14th largest bank in Virginia. That's a decent size, but still a lot of impacts of expenses, especially when you go above the $1 billion in assets level. Another whole group of compliance requirements are put on you when you cross the $1 billion level. So to be independent, move on. We had a cantankerous shareholder out there that probably would have launched a proxy fight against us. We felt we had the votes and we could continue to move on, but that's distracting in its own way. So we considered that in our possibilities, and we were okay with that strategy. The second of which was to go out and find someone of similar size to either acquire or merge with that would make sense and be complementary. And so we pursued that strategy. And the third one is to put the for sale sign out front and just sell it to the highest bidder. At 92 years old, the board absolutely was against selling the old gal, as we call her, out on the street corner. And that did not happen, and that will not be part of what happens here. So we ended up pursuing, and really the first person we talked to was interested. I've known the CEO, Mike Clark of Access Bank, for probably 12 to 15 years. He and I've got a great rapport, and we sort of got together and compared notes of the future and what the future looked like. They're the exact same size we are. They're very good, and their focus is on commercial lending and mortgage. Our focus is on retail banking. We do some commercial activities and the money management business. And we saw how complementary our services were, and that if we put this together, that it would be the sum of the parts was far better than either of us operating independently. And one thing led to another, and we talked for 6 months. And we had talked a few times prior to that about, what would it take to want to chit chat a little more. So we talked about 6 months and we went over every detail. And one of the most specific details that's part of the agreement is the Fox and Middleburg Bank stay outside the doors of all of our existing offices that are Middleburg Bank offices today. They've got 3 offices getting ready to open. 2, those 5 will carry the Access National name. So the name Middleburg Bank staying, the Fox is staying on the bank, and that's where most people intersect with us. Middleburg Trust Company and Middleburg Investment Group will stay as a money management operation. We will bring all their assets underneath our name, Middleburg Investment Group. David Hartley, who many of you know, will continue to lead that as the president and CEO of Middleburg Trust Company. And that group will be almost $2.8 billion in management. That is the largest money manager in Middleburg now, by far, and that will be a nice thing to be based right here and in Richmond. We have 2 co-offices. Middleburg Bank and Access National Bank, the bank itself, will be about $2.8 billion. Half the board is from Middleburg, half the board is from Access, so it's an equal board from that standpoint. I will be on the board. John Lee, our current chairman, who succeeded Joe Bowling, who many of you all know, he will be on the board along with Jan Newharth, Charles Burton, Gary LeClaire, who's a lawyer from Richmond, and who am I missing? Charles Burton, and Mary Lee McDaniel. Many of you all know her as an accountant that practiced here in Middleburg for years before she moved her offices to Warrenton. So that'll be the group representing the Middleburg side of the transaction. So we're pretty pleased with that. What we're going to do is take the best of both worlds, what they may do better, what we may do better, systems and whatnot. Those of you all that are on mobile banking and went through the horrors of our transition to the new provider, we will stick with the same one. We were not going to switch anybody again on mobile banking, so that piece won't change. So that's the first piece I want to get out there. And then we'll work through, we have teams of folks from both operations that are working on the integration pieces, everything from employee policy to lending policy to retail policy. Both groups have staffed the committees that'll be working on that. So there's a lot of details. We don't expect it to close until probably May of next year, and it's the regulatory world. They've got to sort of work its way through Richmond and then on to Washington, D.C., and they'll kick it around a little bit and send it back to Richmond. They'll kick it around a little bit and finally tell us it's time to move forward. So I'm expecting May. If we get into April, that would be great. But in the meantime, we're still Middleburg Bank. They're still Access National. We're going to be doing a lot of things jointly, but we're still independent companies and have to be managed that way. So there'll be very little, there's some overlap like there are, rather than leave that question lingering. There'll be some positions that are overlapping. Those won't be as many as you would see in a big bank buyout where they just strip the whole thing out and move on. It will be very discreet and very few positions. Most anybody you run into on a day-to-day basis, it will not change. Those folks will all be here. So no worries on that end. I'll still be a part of it, and our team here will still be an active part of both Middleburg Bank. I'll remain president of the subsidiary Middleburg Bank, and also chairman and CEO of the money management operations. And the other guy will be president of the bank, and so we sort of split it up that way, and we'll live happily ever after as a new team. So that's sort of the overview. It's going to be it's really a Virginia powerhouse bank now, and that was sort of, if we're going to do this, we felt Middleburg needed to be part of something big. and it's gotten the attention of our competitors around Virginia. The beauty of it is, for those of you right here, is that the bank will still be locally managed and locally controlled, meaning the board being 50-50. So it's not like you get one director out of 20. We've got half the board, and and the chairman of the board, John Lee, is coming from the Middleburg side, who will chair the entire corporation, so he'll be the lead executive. So we're still very much involved, and although I did cross my mind the Sunday night before we announced this, the thought crossed my mind, I'll know by about midday Monday, the 24th, whether I was going to be run out of town, or for selling the old gal, as we call her, or it would be welcomed. And it's actually absolutely been a very positive reaction from all concerned, both from our internal constituents. Our shareholders are extremely pleased. Our employees are looking forward to the new adventure, and then our communities will still be well served because we'll still be part of our communities. There's a little bit of melancholy, I think, in all of us that something that's been here 92 years is changing, but it's changing so it can be here another 92 years, as opposed to having to move in other directions as we continue to be flooded with the regulations that come out of our Washington, D.C. counterparts. Does anybody have any kind of question? Was that a fair, Kathleen, is that a fair? I wanted to keep it enough where you got the facts, but not bore you with every single detail of what we've got going on. But I'd welcome any questions anybody has. By now, I've heard them all, trust me. Yes, HB.
We're number 14 at Middleburg Bank. At $2.5 billion, what number will you be in the state of Virginia?
Oh, we will be number 5, I believe. Yes, thank you.
One of the nicest things about this bank is when you call, a human answers the phone. Will that continue?
Yes. And I'll tell you why. Access Bank is 19 years old, where we're 92 years old. The phone system they had to have been the one they put in on day one. There's no way you could automate that phone system. And you combine it with ours, which you could, we have no interest in that. So it will be a live person will continue to answer the phone. Sometimes people prefer it the other way, but not in a community bank. Other questions? So far they've been easy.
Where's Access based out of?
Reston.
Reston.
So they're local, right close by. There's asking where is Access based, and that's Reston. And that will be where the headquarters of the corporation is, in Reston. So,
Congratulations.
well, thank you. Thank you. And if anybody along the way, I've given you the facts of the overall thing. The name's not changing. The people will stay. We'll have some overlaps, but there isn't going to be some mass execution of the staff like you see and you hear about so often in these deals. And it was very much planned that way. But if you hear some rumor that you said that doesn't sound right, or that doesn't sound like what Gary was talking about, give me a call or shoot me an email, and I'd be glad to clear up anything that might be out there. Because one of the biggest things is we're two companies the same size, and if something goes wrong on my side, it hurts the whole company. If something goes wrong on their side, so I'd rather clean up anything that is not factual. Then it's easier to do that up front than letting it linger or simmer. So thank you for allowing me the microphone for this much time to do this.
I have some business notes for you. If you need a book or just like browsing among the stacks, we still have a town bookstore, but Second Chapter has now moved. They're open at 101 West Washington, which is the site formerly occupied by Union Bank. Kathy, Joe, and Jill are still unpacking, but the shop is open, so please visit them. Also, after many years at the Middleburg Exxon, Matt Fox has opened his own business. I've seen a lot of cars out front in a few days, so I called him to see if he was coming tonight, but he has a half-hour drive to get home to go vote, so he said he'd see us next month. His garage is located in the garage space between Teddy's Pizza and 4 O'Clock Fox on Federal Street, and he can be reached at Fox Automotive. So we all wish him the best. Also, a change of time. If you need hardware supplies on Saturday, Middleburg Millwork is now open 8 to noon on Saturday. So now we have some further updates and town happenings from the board. Cindy?
Well, I'm sure you've all noticed that this construction on Route 50 Washington Street is completed. VDOT sent out a press release that it was completed on, I believe it was October 27th. The other part that came along with that this past weekend, if you noticed, all the meters are gone. There's no meters in town. That's a good thing for right now, but you will be updated shortly on there will be 3-hour free parking in town. So you'll be updated on how that's going to work and when that'll take effect. Probably not until closer to the first of the year by the time we get everything in order. So enjoy the free parking over the holidays. But for the business owners, remember, it's nice not to park in front of your business to allow customers to have a place to park to come in and shop. Thank you.
Alex has our board election results.
So we had 4 people run for the 2 spots open our board, and the winners per everybody's vote were our friends Bob Ball and Delta Moore. So thank you everybody who voted, and we're excited to have these guys on board, so thank you guys.
Unfortunately, Ken is out of town on business, but he worked very hard with American Express to have Middleburg designated again as a town recognized participating in Small Business Saturday. And Melanie's going to give us a little more on that.
I got this assignment, but I forgot to bring my glasses. So here we go. Small Business Saturday will be Saturday, November 26th, Thanksgiving weekend. We have all kinds of promotional materials for which we will pass out the week before. Bags, balloons, pens, posters, and more. We do have 4 bags full of everything which we will pass out tonight, but you have to give Bob and Tone the correct answer.
3.
Wrong! The first question of the Middleburg trivia this evening. When was Middleburg established? 1787. Winner! Second trivia. 3 presidents have spent time in Middleburg. Can you name 2 out of the 3 or all 3?
Monroe, Kennedy.
No Monroe. Answer. Oh, we got one here? Well, you answered it. We got Rob. You get your bag. Monroe.
Modern.
Yeah. Johnson. Kennedy Johnson. Punkin wrote them down, people. In Sharon Cemetery, you will find the first known tomb to whom belongs to who?
3.
At the Sharon Cemetery, you will find the first known tomb to whom belongs to who?
Say Levin Powell.
Okay, we were all at the Biz Buzz this year that was held in the home of the founder of a business that is now over 100 years old and going strong. The answer is?
92.
100. Over 100 years old and going strong. Foxcroft.
Give my bag to Heather.
Give my bag to Heather. There are 3 MPBA members in this new complex next to the Legion Hall. Name 2 out of the 3. And we're looking for not members. Members.
Jacob Charles. And Wiseman and Associates.
Answer.
I already got one, so.
Give it to the person who keeps hollering 3. 3! And the rest of these will be around soon, correct?
Thank you. And as Bob just said, I will be passing around the Saturday before Thanksgiving more bags, pens, shop small buttons, and everything else. So each store will have a supply. So we go from Small Business Saturday to the next MPBA event, which will be the lighting of the town Christmas tree. Pat?
Just a reminder, the tree lighting is at the Pink Box Garden on December 2nd at 5 o'clock. Please be sure to join us. It's a wonderful event. Thank you.
Quickly followed on the heels by Christmas in Middleburg, and Jim Herbert is here with a few of the last minute updates.
So it's great to see so many faces here. Everybody's really appreciative for the bank. I think it's either the bank shrimp or just end of year enthusiasm that brings everybody out. It's with gratefulness, Gary and everybody, that we're all here. And that's a good segue over to Christmas in Middleburg, because the whole message behind Christmas is one of gratefulness. And if we just remember to be grateful for all the people who come into town, they'll have an experience that will bring them back time and time again. So 6 years I'm doing this. 6 years, open your hearts and open your arms before you open your cash registers, and you will have client and customer relationships instead of just business. So they're coming back again and again. This year we've seen tremendous enthusiasm at the Sporting Library for outdoor events, tremendous enthusiasm at the community center for outdoor events, and now comes another Middleburg outdoor event. They're all synergistic. The message continues. They all feed upon each other. The new things that are going on this year, we've had to focus on public safety. We have the bicycle rack barricades that have to be put into town to keep children from running out underneath of horses and wagon wheels, etc. Some of these barricades will also be sporting covers that allow people in town, retailers, very, very good point of presence advertising. So we introduced this last month, and I think we have about 26 of them that have been sold. And so out of the 450 of them all told, we'll have a couple of dozen of them that will be featuring messaging, branding, etc. It's great point of presence visibility. I would remind everybody, because so many of you all are advertisers, some of you all have those barricade covers. November 15 is the date that we need to have logos, artwork, and everything that's going to get basically produced. We do all of the production in-house for the program guide and the posters. Middleburg Printers is doing a fantastic job as a partner with us in the barricade covers, and they're doing all the production work for the barricade covers. It's great, great partnership. Everything is being done here in town. We're capturing everything we possibly can. Parking has moved to online prepay, and we've got about 300 hits on the parking ticket website. About 10% of them are converting. Frankly, if we get 10% of 2,000 cars converted to prepaid, that'll reduce lines, that'll speed the flow, eliminate stacking, and we'll be in a much better shape logistically. The other thing we're doing is adding some western parking. Mosby Springs, George Wiltshire and I have had some ongoing conversations. We'll definitely get that all nailed down as to where exactly we'll put the cars. But instead of having the south side of Route 50 blocked up from Zula Road totally into town because people in ad hoc anarchy will park themselves there, we're providing a parking space and a shuttle, which is added capacity on the west side of town. Other than that, no changes. Same times, we are following hard on the heels of the beautiful and really, really touching tree lighting ceremony. The next day at 11, we have the hunt review through town. That Saturday the 3rd at 2 p.m. we have the main parade through town. Before that is the charter school breakfast with Santa, and I understand they're also going to do bag lunches or box lunches. Joanne Hazard has got 8 or 9 food trucks with an eclectic array of menu items. And so when the restaurants are full, the restaurateurs can say to the people, we have a place you can go actually. We can't have you here, we're already full, but you may go to the food court and you'll be able to get a wide variety of very interesting food. So all of these are continued organic growth of an event that people find wildly popular. So it takes all of us to give them that experience here in town, and it's a great partnership with everybody. I would contend that it is an MBPA event as well as the tree lighting ceremony, because the MBPA is a major financial partner that helps underwrite this and helps get it going. The town of Middleburg is the other major partner, and then we take some of these advertising and marketing platform revenues and raise enough money ourselves to try and get the job done. But it's good for all. It's rising tide that floats all ships. Thank you.
Thank you. I'd also like to take time to thank the Community Center for another great and well-attended hot dog. It's Halloween. That was a great event for so many kids. And also to thank Pat, Tone, and Bob, who, in full costume, along with AJ, led the kids for the town parade. You guys were rocking, that was great. So it was a lovely event. We've also been getting some great press lately. The success of the film festival was covered by print media, social media, and the online press reviews, and what reviews the film along with the town received. Wonderful and extensive coverage. And as the construction has been winding down, the town has been placing ads in various print publications, including the Haymarket magazine, which reaches all those folks down 15. So reaching out to get more people here, which is good. Also, Northern Virginia Magazine named Focus Wealth Management as one of the region's top financial professionals. Their offices are right across the street above Highcliffe and Stitch. So, good things happening in the Burg. I'd also like to thank everyone who submitted nominations for the annual business awards, and we know you will be pleased with the results. A lot of new names and faces, so that will be fun. Those awards will be presented at next month's Biz Buzz and Holiday Celebration. So, once again, I'd like to thank our hosts. Thank you, Gary. Thank you for the great update on the bank. Congratulations. Please enjoy the rest of the evening. Cynthia's put out a great spread for everyone, and we will see you in December at the Emmanuel Parish House for the awards and the holiday party. Thank you.